Well, good morning, everybody, and it is welcome to the WVU post-game show. I'm Greg Chris, along with my great friend, Mr. Frank Fear, of course, and we're coming to you here on a early Saturday morning, well, early after last night. Um, Due to the fact that the game was on so late, we decided to do the post-game this morning. And Frank, I tell you, I feel like I've been out on an all-nighter after last night. My gosh, I'm getting too old for that. I'm not used to that.
Yeah, it was late, wasn't it? Boy, oh
Oh my
boy.
goodness. Yeah, and the thing was, I kept thinking, gosh, I'm not going to be able to make it through this game. I'm going to fall asleep. I know I am, but actually, the game was actually pretty fun to watch. I actually, the way it started out, I thought, God, here we go again. It's going to be one of these drubbings. And I never felt like we had a chance to win the game, but we were competitive, and it was interesting. It was an entertaining game. I didn't have any trouble at all staying up and watching it. I actually enjoyed watching it.
Yeah. It's interesting because the emotions go all over the place as we're watching these games. I think back to the Pitt game,
Yeah,
riding high, and then, ooh, Pitt is on a run, and we flip the script. It as when it got to be 14-0, particularly after the interception that for the first
yeah,
touchdown with
yeah,
uh, with the interception, the quarterback interception. But then, I thought about this, Greg. I don't know if you think the same way, but when that final gun went off, I said to myself, well, which team is going to have some regrets over this game? And if there's one that has more than the other, I think it's BYU.
yeah.
That
I do too.
that game went off at 20.5,
Yeah,
favored toward BYU, and they did not. In fact, the Mountaineers outscored them in the second half. And if you think about, they started 14-0. That
yeah,
meant it was an even game after that.
yeah, yeah. And Frank, that if you look at the game as a whole, and I know you can always say if this would have happened, if that would happen, it didn't happen. But first of all, credit to the Mountaineer players. When you're struggling as they are, and they know they're struggling, they're not unaware of the fact that they're not real good right now. And you get down 14-0 on the road like that with a hostile crowd, it's pretty easy just to fold your tents and say, let's just pack up and get out of here. But they didn't. They kept playing. And, like I said, there's a lot of ifs and what ifs. But, you think back, you take that interception out of the picture. You take the drop pass by Vaughn that was intercepted down to goal line. You take our inability to punch it in from 6 inches. If Vaughn makes the catch, we get that other touchdown. We don't throw there. I mean, this game could have been totally opposite, really. And I think if some of those things would have happened, I just feel like our defense might have performed a little bit better if those things would have happened. It would have been a different game if those things would have occurred. Now, again, they didn't occur, and that's part of the game. I mean, you're going to have drop balls and that, but when you have a struggling team like WVU is, your margin of error is so small, and we just can't make those mistakes. And that's the things that I think he'll focus on, and hopefully correct those things. Which that they don't do them on purpose. I mean, they don't drop the ball on purpose, and they don't throw interceptions on purpose. But work on it, be aware of those things, and just say, listen, we're not far from being a pretty good team, but we cannot make these mistakes.
Yeah.
And they played in a pretty clean game. They didn't have many penalties. A couple of penalties that they did have, I thought were kind of questionable. Some of the interferences, at least one of them for sure. So they only had a few penalties. They played a clean game. They forced some turnovers, did some good things there. So overall, like I said, the first half, I was, and I hate to say this, and I said I'm gonna tell Frank this tomorrow, and I probably shouldn't, but I almost felt sorry for our guys. I know it sounds strange, but I'm just like, man, they play hard, they try, they're just not very good, and I was feeling kind of sorry for them. Second half, though, they come back, and I was like, hey, you know what? This team got a little bit of heart. I like this team, and I mean they're not. We're just not blessed with a ton of talent. Well, I don't even know if it's talent. I think it's experience, age, experience, injuries combined with all that has made it a struggle. But the fact that I coached for a long, long time, and I always said, the wins and losses, it's great to win, it's horrible to lose, blah, blah, blah. But if you see your team improve and you see them working hard and playing hard and not giving up, that's all you can ask for as a coach. And I'm sure Coach Rodriguez, and I didn't listen to any post-game stuff yet. I'll go back and listen, but I'm sure he wasn't overly displeased. I think he knows. Obviously, he knows that they're not real good, but I think he's happy with the way they played. I think they and there were some bright spots. I mean, there's some things that make you encouraged for the future, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Let me throw on some of the comments here, Greg, and we'll go through them, and then we can talk about it. Good morning. Timothy was with us late last night. Good morning, fellas. I would like to just say I think we made progress last night, and that's essentially what we've been talking about. Here's a comment from WV Fan 13. There were a lot of positives to take away from this game. Wilkins, with the exception of the INT, looked comfortable and poised. And then he adds to that, the defensive front seven looked great. I want to talk about that in a minute. Forced turnovers, yes. Secondary is beginning to be suspect. A lot of blown coverages. And then back with Timothy, I truly believe we made progress last night. And I agree that they got a lot of quit in them. Made mistakes on a couple of calls. I agree. I thought were questionable from the referees. The one thing I wanted to bring up, Greg, is that, and I want to go back to WVU Fan 13, because when I got up this morning, Kathy Fear did not watch the game, but she asked me what my takeaway thought was. And what I said was, if there was one thing that I felt was the turning point in the game, it wasn't a turning point. It was a pattern. We got no pressure on that quarterback. He was doing target practice. And you got to give him a lot of credit. He's a true freshman. He's basically a linebacker, running back. We talked about this last night. As a quarterback, I mean, national championships have been won by quarterbacks of that stature. And in fact, Ben Schwartzwalder from West Virginia, who coached Syracuse to a national championship, took a halfback upset with the quarterbacks, and he put him at quarterback, and he ran and passed the Orange to a national championship. That was a long time ago. This guy looks the same way. He looks like a linebacker. But we made it easy for him, really easy for him. And that was disappointing.
Yeah, he was pretty good. He was very poised for a freshman, But again, and I've said this since game one, if you don't pressure quarterbacks, they'll pick you apart. And I was a little bit frustrated with our defensive backs as well. But then when you look at it, you think, well, the guy's dropping back there and he's got 4 or 5 seconds to look around and throw the ball. It's hard to cover somebody that long. And, we didn't get a lot of pressure on him, and we didn't let him get comfortable back there. And, he threw some nice passes. I was, fairly impressed with him. I wasn't nearly as impressed, though, as the broadcasters were. I thought it has to be one of them's son, the way they kept going on and on and on about him. I'm like, okay, all right, we get it. We get it. He wears number 47. He was a linebacker. He threw some nice passes. He threw some bad passes, too. But I thought that was that created a lot of problems. I just think we just didn't get the pressure on him. We got to him a couple times, and when we did, he didn't complete the ball. We got in his face. That our pressure just and we've done a pretty good job of that for the most part this year. I don't know that offensive line of BYU is pretty stout, and they were very physical. I concentrated a lot on the line and watching them block, and they're pretty daggone good. Mm-hmm. And it was tough to get pressure on them, but some of our blitzes worked and that sort of thing. The one long screen pass, they caught us in a blitz, perfect call for that blitz. So, there were a lot of things, little things like that didn't work out for us. But yeah, you're right. I just thought we didn't get enough pressure on him, and let him get comfortable back there. And like I said, he threw some nice passes and that sort of thing. But I wasn't overwhelmed. Like I said, I wasn't nearly as excited about him as the broadcasters were.
Yeah, yeah. Here's another good comment from WV Fan 13, and I was thinking the same thing. I'll read it. The drop TD pass was a killer. We know that, but we came back and scored. But this one, why did we go and shotgun twice at 3rd and 4th from the first 1 yard line? That was one of the things that struck me all night. I mean, yeah. I don't think BYU is super talented, but they have good schemes and they execute well. And Timothy responded to that. I had the same question. I thought that was kind of silly when you basically are so close to the goal line. You see, here's another one from Timothy here. I really liked what BYU did at the end of the game. Instead of running up the score, they called the dogs off, which really was important to do. And that would have been a bad look if they had scored at the end of the game. Yeah. Although the gamblers who picked BYU would have enjoyed that.
Yeah. Yeah, I questioned the play caller at the end with our, being down so close. Actually, a couple of the play calls, early in the game, we did the push, I guess they call it, for a first down. But if you notice, it don't look much like the Eagles took push. I'll say that. Our offensive line, I don't think, is just not capable of pushing people. And we got down the goal line and we tried those things, and I just don't think we're strong enough, physical enough to do that. That's the main reason I questioned the call. I wouldn't question the call otherwise. I do wonder sometimes about the shotgun, why we do that down the goal line. I don't understand that. But, the only reason I question that, a push up the middle is just because our offensive line doesn't seem to be physically strong enough to move anybody. And, I thought there's no way, Now, when we had it on the 6-inch line, I thought, all we got to do is fall forward, That's why I think you get under center and you just sneak it, because you can move it, 6 inches. And if you just go down low and push forward, I think you can go 6 inches. But when you're starting from that shotgun, it makes it hard. So, and the thing is, and I've heard analysts say this before, is that when you go from that, that pistol formation, shotgun, whatever it is, all the time, it's hard to go under center and be comfortable and do that. But I would think surely that they practice some under the center stuff. I would think. Yeah. I don't know, but I didn't understand that. And but like I said, it's always ifs, ands, and buts, and that touchdown drop was crucial, but we did get it right back and we scored. There were just, like I said, just a couple of little things here and there. Had they gone the other way, could have made a big difference. I mean, I don't know that we'd have won, but it would have been a lot closer. Mm-hmm. And we just felt, it just seemed like we were right on the brink. Mm-hmm. I was going to ask you a question, put you on the spot here. Who did at any point in time in the game did you think of, when you watched Wilkins back here? Did you think of anybody else in WU's past?
Geno Smith.
I tell you what, he looked like, to me, I kept thinking, he looks a little bit like, and I'm not saying he's that caliber yet, Geno Smith and maybe Pat White. I guess the left-handed thing with Pat White and the way he runs the ball. I was pretty impressed with him. I thought he played well, other than the one interception. Once he calmed down, he threw some nice balls, made some nice completions. With time, I think he will be fine. But I was fairly impressed with him. I thought he played pretty well, really, other than that interception.
Yeah, well, we have a quarterback. I mean, what was also interesting is, I always used to teach students this, sometimes you need to look at not what's going on, but what didn't go on. and Henderson never got in the game. I don't know if he was hurt or not, but I think it's a moot point now. I mean, I'd be shocked if Wilkins isn't our quarterback going forward. And what a flip, because the top two quarterbacks, center obviously Nico Marchiol and Henderson were the top two quarterbacks, and the guys who played last night were the next two up. I'll tell you one thing though, Greg. We've shown this on the Wednesday show, and we showed it last night. And if there's anything that makes me want to put my fist through the wall, it's this graphic. Now, their quarterback, right? Bear Bachmeier, going into that game last night, he had 700 passing yards, right? Last night, he had 351, okay? Chase Roberts, this is the one that I just want to scream over. Going into the game last night, he had 234 total yards, and a 14.6 average. Last night, he had 161 yards for a 40.3 average. And Kinston, the other receiver, went into that game last night. He had how many yards did he have? He had 38 yards versus Colorado in the last game. Last night, he had 4 catches for 111 yards, a 27.8 average. And so what really upsets me is that, and this goes back to comments that have been made, that defense looks so good against Robert Morris and really against Ohio in a very close game. And in the first half of the Pitt game, in the first half of the Pitt game when West Virginia went ahead and then held on in the second half. And we're just giving up too many yards. Those numbers are incredible. I mean, they're just incredible.
Yep. It's staggering. Those numbers are staggering. And I kept thinking last night, man, one of the commenters there said that talked about our defensive front being so tough. I didn't see that last night. I felt like we got manhandled in the last 2 games. I thought our defense has really let us down. And I know, part of that is that they're on the field so much. I get that. And but I thought last night, when we gave up so many big plays. I mean, just 25, 30-yard gains on a run, and we'd have somebody hit at the line of scrimmage, and they'd end up gaining 7 or 8 yards after the hit, and they'd run the option and they'd fake, and we'd go for the fake, and there quarterback goes up the field 10 yards, and a little crossing pattern, slant pattern pass play, and they connect and go 80 yards. It was just big play after big play, and our defense just never could get their footing. And I was a little disappointed in that. The last couple of weeks, the defense is disappointed because I thought, I thought our defense has been pretty solid, and even in the Kansas game, we got off to a horrible start, but we played pretty good later on, and we've been able to take away some of what these teams like to do. And last night they did whatever they wanted. They ran the ball well. They threw the ball, and we couldn't stop it. And I was just disappointed in the defense. And I was a little down on the defensive backs. But then when I go back and look, you think, well, again, not a lot of pressure on the on the quarterback, and give them too much time to throw the ball, and that hurts your defensive backs. But I think again, the defensive backs struggled. Even with that, I thought there were some blown coverages back there. I thought they let people run right past them a couple of times, and just couldn't keep up with them. I don't know if it's experience. I don't know what it is, but it seems like they've regressed a little bit. And the offense, which was just totally stagnant, seemed like it come alive a little bit last night. I mean, we weren't great on offense, but we did enough, and we scored and we got the ball, in scoring position several times. But the defense we just couldn't stop anybody. And I don't know, at one point there I heard them say that in the red zone they were 4 for 4 or something. when they got the red zone, and we just couldn't stop them. And like I said, it just seemed like they did what they wanted to. If they wanted to run, they ran. If they wanted to throw it, they threw it. And not much we could do to prevent it either way.
Yeah, that's right. I wanted to comment on WVU fan 13 point. The second point, that's we continue to use the hurry up offense. And from what I understand, at least what Coach Rodriguez has said, that's really non-negotiable. We have to go with a hurry up. And I think we're the fastest in the country, if I remember that graphic that went up. And that's because of our offensive line. He said we just can't go it. Good to see Joey Foster, executive producer of the channel. I do like Wilkins, and that's a good point if he stays. I mean, with everything being mobile, it's tough. And another principal, our good friend Jackson Johnson from the network, read it, Greg. If WVU had stopped BYU short when the Cougars made the fake field goal, man, he ran through like the waters had been parted. And Cam Vaughn had held on to the ball instead of playing hot potato with it, the game would have been much closer. And, you know, it was 14 points. Good point. 14 points as it is. And let me see another comment from Joey here. There have been so many injuries this year. I've never seen a team with such bad luck. And that's true. We've just had a lot of bad luck. And Jackson responded, agreed, Joey. I could see Wilkins as the starter entering the UCF matchup. God, you know, of course, we've got 2 weeks before then. Next week's a bye week. But, God, it would be shocking, I think, Greg, at this point if somebody else. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I don't see him going any other direction now. I think like he played pretty well last night, and you know, what options do you have? I mean, he's obviously that's been the best we've seen, really, probably all year. And yeah, I think you got to go with him. You know, Scotty Fox come in and looked good. I mean, he was only in there for one series, but that series turned out to be pretty nice, you know, and so that was encouraging. I think, you know, the foundation's getting laid, and you know, these injuries, you just, you know, we've talked about this over and over again. You know, when you have all these new guys and you're trying to blend everybody together and figure out where people need to be and that sort of thing, and then you compound all that with all the injuries, you know, and then it becomes patchwork trying to get somebody in this spot that can play, and you know, we have been just rocked injury wise and offensively, and I'm just wondering. I didn't pay a lot of attention, but I'm just wondering how many defensive people we have out injured, and because it seemed like I said, it just seems like our defense is taking a step back. But yeah, with all these injuries and stuff, it's just hard to get things nailed down, and it's been a struggle for them. And you know, I know that's part of the game, but it just feels like it's kind of a unique situation that we're in with, you know, with all the new transfers, you know, all the portal people and you know, new staff, new system. Then you throw in all the injuries. It just seems like we're behind the eight ball, so to speak. We've you know, been tough. It's been tough, and but again, you see some things that are encouraging, and you know, I think you know, a couple of the running backs are starting to, you know, come around a little bit. Wilkins, of course, played pretty well. Still worry about that offensive line. You know, I just don't know if it's the age and the youth, inexperience, what it is, but they just seem, I don't know, pretty weak. And, you know, you hope you can get that worked out. But yeah, some bright spots. I think Wilkins definitely will start. I don't know why he wouldn't. And, you know, I think he's going to get better and better and better. And that's encouraging.
Well, one of the things you talked about running back, and I just looked at the stats, is Ty Edwards. Timothy mentioned last night that he was cleared to play. And then I really expected to see him out there at the beginning. He wasn't. And I'm looking at the stats. He carried the ball twice for 2 yards for a 1 yard average, and seemed to be the only time he ran was when we needed a yard. And for the most part, he didn't deliver. Now, I have no idea what the status of his health is. He was used. That's important. But I was looking at the forward schedule, and I think for the next 4 teams or 3 teams, their collective record is 10-2, starting with UCF. TCU obviously is undefeated, and so it's really important to have a big back like Ty Edwards ready to play. But last night he didn't look right.
Right. Yeah. He didn't. Like I said, I saw both the runs. I remember when he was in the game, and I thought, well, maybe this will give us a boost. But after watching him, I thought, I don't know, he didn't look as nimble as he has in the past. So he's probably not fully recovered yet. I'm sure they didn't want to throw him out there. Probably just wanted to take a look and see how he did. And you could tell he wasn't up to par. And but yeah, we definitely need him going forward. We need that big back, and and I hate to keep saying the same thing over and over, but unless we get some blocking up there, it's not going to matter who's back there.
Mm-hmm.
And last night a couple of times, we ran the ball, and the name slips me of the running back, a pretty quick kid, but it looked like when the handoff was made, you think nice hole, and he'd blast through it, but it just seemed like BYU closed so fast, and they would shut it down immediately, and we just couldn't go anywhere with it. But it looked like a couple of times we had opportunities, but they just closed on us and shut it down quickly. So I still think it all falls on the offensive line.
Yeah, I'm looking at what Joey puts up here, and we talked a bit about this earlier in the show, Joey, about the frustration with that defensive line in particular, not putting pressure, even with blitzes on the quarterback for the most part. I don't think we got a sack last night. I just looked; we did not, according to ESPN data. And the other point that Joey makes, Greg, is important, is that you have to remember the nature of BYU. A lot of those players have gone on missions and then come back. And so they have a distinctly older profile demographically from many teams. And I'll say this and probably take some flack for it, but I'll say it anyway. I don't think I've ever seen watching that team last night reminded me of the segregated era of the 1950s and 60s. With the lack of diversity at BYU. I mean, when you looked up and down the line, all the names I mentioned on the offense, but that's BYU. I mean, they're independent, and as a consequence, they do things a certain way, and they're in Utah. Okay, all of that. But I think one of the things that you bring up, Joey, is important, and that is that there's an age difference. If you look at the age profile of BYU, it's going to be older for the reasons I mentioned. And Timothy Green mentioned here, Edwards must still be hurt. He did not play like he should have played or can play or has played. Right. Yep. You can finish that sentence with a number of different words. Absolutely correct.
Yep. And I made the point a few weeks ago, when you look at our offensive line and you look at their faces in those helmets, they look like babies. I mean, they look like young kids. And you look at their physical makeup, they look like young kids. And you look at those guys last night from BYU, they look like grown men. And, even the broadcaster said at one time, there's quite a bit of NFL talent on this field for BYU. And you can see that. And you can just see a difference. In the physical makeup, the facial characteristics, all those things, in the players and the linemen especially. You just look at our offensive line sometimes. I like people to just take note and look at them when they do a close up and just see how young they look. I mean, they just look like babies, And of course, we're old men, so we think a lot of people look like babies. But if you look at those guys compared to other guys they're playing against, you can see a difference. And I think last night again it was like grown men playing against young kids. And it definitely to me makes a big difference, I think. And I think you can see it. And we're young. I mean, we're a young football team, and you can see that. I mean,
sure.
We make young mistakes. We do things at this stage of the season probably shouldn't do. which is indicative of people being young and inexperienced. We get pushed around a little bit, on the lines because we're just not physically there yet.
Mm-hmm. Flipping the coin over, Greg, on the point made about sacks, let's give the offensive line and the quarterback credit that BYU did not register a sack last night. No criticism of Nico directly, but I just don't think that would have been the case, and he may have been hurt this year, even before we knew about his foot injury. But you just can't believe that would have been the outcome. Obviously, Wilkins is a lot more mobile and much more elusive as well. And so he was a real find if you look at how he ranked nationally in terms of dual threat quarterbacks. West Virginia got a diamond in the rough in him, and he's now going to be our starting quarterback. I agree with you. I think I'd be shocked if he didn't. Here's another comment from Joey. I think I'm going to take FSU to win straight up tonight. That's an interesting pick. The game in Tallahassee, and FSU is still upset about being last 2 years ago, and this is a chance to prove themselves. Yeah, a lot of great games today, huh? And the one that I'm looking forward to, Diego Pavia, Vanderbilt. Can Vanderbilt beat Bama? Who's the country going to be cheering for in that game? It's Vandy, man. It's Vandy.
I would say they're going to be rooting for Vandy. I'll be honest with you. I don't think Lightning going to strike twice in 2 years. I think Alabama will beat them. Of course, Vanderbilt's good. I mean, they
are.
Yeah, they're a good football team, so it should be a good fun game to watch. I'd say. I saw a sign on the game day today. What's his name? Diego.
Pavia.
Yeah. Said Diego Pavia has grandchildren.
I'm not surprised. Here we go. Look at this. We got talk about fans that are looking up data. WVU fan 13. Average age of WVU offensive line is 21.5. BYU defensive line is 22.5. Offensive line for us averages 302. And look at this. The BYU defensive line is 285, which is really not that goes back about to the 80s. But they're mobile. And Joey has another comment here that I'll tell you. We talked about this. This Cincinnati team, it says, I can't believe that Cincy is favored over ISU. But, Cincy, if you watch that Kansas game, Kansas scored at the end of the game. Cincinnati got the ball. You could tell they were confident. They went right down the field and scored and won that game. So I wouldn't bet it. I'm an ISU grad, but I wouldn't bet against Cincy in that one.
No, I wouldn't either. Cincinnati's a pretty good football team. And back to WVU 13's point there about the linemen. That is a little bit misleading, I think. I mean, Frank, the average weight in my house is probably 280, 290, but I'm fat. and there's a difference in fat heaviness and muscle. You can weigh 300 pounds, but if you're not strong, it don't matter. And I think that's the difference. I mean, when you look at our linemen, they're not small. I never said they were small, but they look weak. And a guy that's 285 and cut, like a Myles Garrett, for example, who could absolutely move and fly. There's a difference, and that age difference don't sound like a lot, but that's average of a year older, and that's an average. So there may be one guy on there that brings that average down. I don't know that, but so that that still makes a difference. It's just men against boys, basically.
Yeah, here's a good comment from Jackson, and it's right every time we post for the show, we have this information there, and that is that you can contribute to the voice of college football financially without actually making a financial contribution, but simply clicking that link anytime you shop at Amazon.com, and whatever you buy eventually or that day will go to a portion will go to the network. So we appreciate that. Good point, Jackson. Thank you for saying that. Joey Foster, great show, guys. I have to run. Don't get discouraged as a Mountaineer. We all knew this could be the outcome before the season even started. And Joey, we miss you, buddy. Appreciate you being here today, and please take care of yourself.
Yep, sure thing. Yeah, and Joey's right. I think we all knew this could happen. I don't know that too many of us expected it to be quite this bad, but most of the pundits felt like we were going to struggle, and I'm trying to read the comments as we go, but yeah, I feel like I think we all knew we'd probably struggle. Again, I don't know that we thought it was going to be quite as bad as it's been, but I think last night was encouraging, and I enjoyed watching last night. I don't know how other Mountaineer fans felt. I mean, I never enjoy watching us get beat. But I just liked the way we were playing. I liked we were competitive, and got a little frustrated with the defense at times. But I felt better about the team last night, much better than I did in the Utah or Kansas game.
Yeah, this just came across the ESPN wire. It just reported that Diego Pavia is a great grandfather. That's amazing, and he may miss the game because of that today. Actually, this guy has thrown for 1,200 yards already this season with 13 touchdowns. I watched him when he was at New Mexico State, which is also always dicey because they can't find a league. In the old days they were in the Western Athletic Conference, but boy, I'll tell you, this guy's a winner. He was a wrestler in high school, and talk about a linebacker as quarterback, and that guy just everywhere he goes, he's just a winner. I mean, it's just amazing.
I keep laughing, Frank. I have college game day on. Of course, they show all the signs, that people bring to the game. Of course, I did see one said "Roll Tide" from WV, but the one I just now saw was that Metamucil is Diego's morning drink. They really handled him about his age.
Yeah, exactly.
Good size. Frank is totally off the beaten path here, and not really a game analytical. But last night, one of the players from WVU, and I missed it. I wanted to ask you, and I meant to text you last night and ask you, but it slipped my mind. They talked about the guy who could play the piano. He played the saxophone.
Oh,
and he was a defensive lineman.
Yeah, Visterian.
What's his name again?
Yeah, Visterian, if I'm correct.
That's right.
Yeah, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Yeah, from Finland. Yeah, from Finland.
I thought, man, that's pretty neat. I didn't know all that, and I missed his name, so I was wanting to have you give me his name so I could remember who he was. I thought that was pretty cool. But but anyway, I felt better about our team last night. Like I said, much better than I did after the Utah and Kansas game. I mean, I was ready to throw in the towel. Now I have renewed faith. I think we've, and that's all I've said all along. If we can just show some improvement, from week to week, get better. Some of these guys start developing and getting better. That's what you want to see. And, hopefully we start seeing a little bit more of that. And I think as they get healthy, this bye week is going to be a big help. Get some of the bodies, rested up and get them back. We should be a little bit better off in that, in that regard as well. So hopefully the upward trend will continue.
Yeah. And one of the things we did last night that we just have been please, is that we drove the ball a bit. We have not, the time of possession, we thought, and I brought this up last night, unfortunately you couldn't join us because of technical issues, but, I really was harping, as you know, on time of possession. I thought that was really important. At the end of the day, it didn't really mean much because on a couple of those long passes, BYU scored very quickly. They pretty much hit their average. I think they're averaging about 34 minutes time of possession per game, and that ranks in the top 15. And I think there were 33 last night. But for West Virginia, we drove the ball a bit, and again, that's a function of the quarterback, and so that's really important. We got another WVU Fan 13 giving us a lot of important and interesting information. Current odds of WVU winning each of the remaining games: 31% against UCF, TCU 23%, Houston 32%, Colorado 50% almost, Arizona State 18%, Texas Tech 30%. So the big question he asked to follow up: which 4 games can we win to be 6-6? Timothy thanks him for all those stats. To get to a bowl game, can we win 4 games? I think UCF there, we've beaten them there before recently. I think that's winnable. That's one. TCU is going to be a tough order. So much money is flowing at Texas Tech. That's going to be a tough game. That's going to be there at the end of the season. Maybe Houston, but Houston looks a lot better. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I was out of those that he listed. I'm not sure I can come up with 4, to be honest. I think Colorado. I think we'll have a shot, of course. After that, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't feel good about too many of them, to be honest with you. That's a tough schedule, and when you if you looked at the schedule, you look at it after last year, you look at the schedule, say, well, that's not too bad, But then when the season starts and these teams turn out to be better than what you thought they were going to be, as the schedule looks a lot tougher than what it did before the season started. And, these teams, and I've watched most of them play, watched Houston there last week, and they got a big game today. And I just don't know if there's 4 in there, Frank, to be honest with you. I don't know.
Yeah.
It might be asking a little too much. I think, of course, you never know what might happen. If we get back to our way we played against Pitt, who knows? I mean, we could beat a lot of these teams. I think we're going to be competitive in those games. The only one I really would worry about would be like Texas Tech. But I think the other games I think will be competitive. Even with TCU, playing them home, I think we'll be competitive. And we could win a few, could as long as we're hanging into the games, But I think we're going to have to show improvement each week, and if we don't show some improvement, we're not going to win probably any of them.
Yeah, that's right. What WVU Fan 13 is doing, boy, it's just great. All the comments today. Thank you all for being here and making comments. Adding the data, very important. Now, it's getting a bit personal. I'm not going to put this up, Greg. I'm not. WVU Fan has the amount that the balance in my checking account, but I'm not going to put that up. But obviously, that's a joke. But it's a joke because I don't have a balance in my checking account.
Mine is a joke.
Oh man, Kathy's at the mall, and so there's nothing left. So, at any rate, yeah.
Well,
but
we've been remodeling here at my house, and it's taking its toll.
Yeah. Comments have been especially good today. We appreciate all the great comments.
Oh, yeah. Heck yeah. That's what makes this fun with people comment, because, like I said, we're not the experts. We just go here and talk about it. We like to have, these folks that really follow closely and, the stats and that sort of thing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But heck yeah. Any comments are welcome. We love that.
Now this is WVU Fan did check my, $0.00. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. What I was told is before you retire, Frank, you've got to have enough money to live on. Yikes. So at any rate.
Yeah. If that's the case with me, then I'll be probably dead in about a week.
Thank you, Timothy, for those comments. Oh, you mentioned Mickey. And of course, Mickey's going to be with us on the Wednesday show and always during the football season. And we'll talk more about that. Have a great guest again. And just a reminder from last night, I'll repeat it again. We had Greg did a great job being the primary host for last week's guest, the great Terry Bowden. And so that's in the archive. But I forgot to mention this. The winner of last night's pool.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, let me go up here, and I think I hope I can find it. It may not be here because that was on the pregame show. And so it may not be here. Let's see if it's here. It's not. But the winner of last night's pool, believe it or not, is me.
Hey.
And the reason is
Right.
that I picked WVU on the nose with 24 points. And so
Okay.
what's great about it, Greg, is that after 6 games, very different from last year when Mickey was just beating our asses. I think he
Yeah.
was up
Yeah.
at one point 4-1 or something like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
It's now 2-2-2, which
Yeah.
we that's good. I feel satisfied. For me, the season could end right now. I mean, this is for me. It's about as good as it's going to get. But
That's funny. Yeah.
Shout out
Yeah.
to the men's and women's soccer teams, looking great. And I'm glad you brought this up because, by God, WVU fan 13, and I forgot to bring it up to you, Greg, that we should say something
Yeah.
about the volleyball team.
Yeah.
The volleyball team, we had Jen Greeny on the show last year.
Yeah.
She came in and really had just a tough duty. Came from Washington State, another great hire by Ren Baker, and I think they only won 1 or 2 Big 12 games. They went into the Big 12 schedule this year undefeated at 12-0. Lost the opener at Cincinnati, but they came back and beat BYU. And so, a much better vibe in Morgantown. So a huge thank you very much, WVU Fan 13. A shout out to our friend Jen Greeny. Reminds me we got to have her back on the show because she did such a great job at Washington State. And then when Washington State got essentially kicked out of or disinvited from moving to either the ACC or the Big Ten, coaches left. Jonathan Smith went to Michigan State, and Jen and other coaches, but Jen came to West Virginia. So good for women's volleyball and for the soccer teams.
Yep. She was a fun guest too. She did a great job as a guest. I enjoyed interviewing her. That was fun. Going back to this past week's show, Frank, I would encourage people to go back if they haven't seen it to check that out because Terry Bowden was awesome. It was so much fun to listen to, and had some great stories. And I swear, I believe I could sit and listen to him for hours. And I'm definitely going to check out that podcast just to listen to him. But that was a ton of fun. So people ought to go check that out if they get a chance. That'd be something they will enjoy. I'm sure any Mountaineer fan would enjoy it.
And he incredibly multi-talented. I did not know that he had a law degree, that he'd studied at Oxford in England, that Amazing. I had forgotten that he had been a broadcaster with ABC in New York for 10 years.
Yeah.
And he coached at a lot of schools that don't have, I would say, a history of outstanding football teams like Akron. But he did a great job at North Alabama. And now he's doing a podcast out of Louisiana where he's living. Hopefully we'll see him again when he's in Morgantown for the TCU game, because that's the Bowden return game. And let us put in a plug. If you haven't purchased it, strongly recommend John Antonik's new book on Bobby Bowden. It's a great read, and you can buy it at Amazon or at your local bookstore.
Yep. And good book. People will enjoy it, I'm sure. Again, any Mountaineer fan will enjoy it. And it's interesting and a lot of good, good insights, good stories, stuff that we didn't know, some of it we did know, but a lot of it we didn't know. And really good stuff. And what a amazing family. I mean, not to sound corny or anything like that, but I said, you think about, and my wife, who knows nothing about sports, I was telling her this. Didn't have anybody else to tell, but you got Bobby Bowden, Hall of Fame coach, national championships. You got Terry Bowden at Auburn, winning, going undefeated, essentially winning the national championship. Tommy Bowden, head coach at Clemson. and I think Jeff was the other one, was the offensive coordinator at Florida State, maybe at Alabama at one time. And then you look at the educational background of these guys. It's absolutely phenomenal. I mean, what a family. And I said, and my wife did say, yeah, I bet their family dinners were fun. I said, can you imagine sitting around the table with that and crew and just listening? How fun that would be, you know? And but yeah, just amazing. And yeah, we've talked ad nauseum about what players do after they leave WVU and the successes that they've had and that sort of thing. He's just another one in that long line, and just absolutely amazing. And what a coaching lineage, unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. WVU fan 13 is saying, "What do you think, Greg? Vandy or Tide?"
I'm going to have to go. I mean, I want Vanderbilt to win, like everybody else in the country, except those down in Tuscaloosa. I want Vanderbilt to win, but I think Alabama is getting better and better and better each week, and they look pretty good against Georgia. And I don't know. I think it might be a little much. It should be a good game, though. Vanderbilt's good. Vanderbilt's good.
That's right. Let's welcome to the show. This is interesting. Professional Carpet Systems of Raleigh.
Yeah.
Wow. North Carolina, maybe. I think. I'll read it. I think we're going to be all right come next year, after we figure out what we need to do this year. We could surprise some people down the stretch this year also. And I think what we're saying is, with 6 games left, we're thinking at 2 wins. Colorado looks like they can be had at home, and UCF possibly on the road. The other 4 are dicey because they're all competitors for the Big Ten championship. Arizona State is in that mix too, and and then fan 13 has, what's the betting line, over or under 50 new players next season? I'm taking over.
I'm taking over too.
Yeah,
I'm taking over. Yeah. He might get rid of 60 or 70.
Yeah.
Frankie missed a golden opportunity there. Carpet guy sound like perfect sponsor spot for somebody.
There you go. Yeah.
There we go. Maybe get some carpet.
Yeah. The only I'm thinking about professional carpet systems. You don't want unprofessional carpet systems.
No,
so this is good stuff. We appreciate that. Great comment, and we agree with you too. Good assertion. Good assertion.
I think, like he said, I think he's right. We're figuring out what we need to do.
That's right.
Rich Rod is, and I think he's looking for pieces for the foundation. Something to build on, and then he's just got to get his type of player in here. He runs a certain system. He's got to get those players that can run his system in. And that's just the way it is, and that's just the nature of the game, and it's a different ball game. And I think Rich Rod knows how to do it. I think he's got a good feel for what to do and how to do it, and he's figuring out what he needs to do. He'll get it done.
Yep. Well, the mystery has been solved here for Professional Carpet Systems of Raleigh. It is North Carolina, but he's a West Virginian, so God bless you.
That's right.
I think, I'll tell you what. I think it's really important, the roles that people like our colleague here, Professional Carpet Systems, plays. Living elsewhere, I try to do the same thing. My wife, who's a WVU alum as well, to really talk up West Virginia to people who have either never been there or have some kind of conventional wisdom, so to speak, about West Virginia. I mean, one of the things that Terry talked about on the show the other night was that he said he's always valued the education he got at WVU. And it basically, he said, it gave him a ticket to anywhere and everywhere. He could have gotten into any place he wanted to, and eventually not only got his law degree, but also, as I mentioned, went to Oxford, which is not easy to do. So,
yeah. Well, I have, my family members. I have an older brother who graduated from WVU, now has a PhD in psychology. I have a baby brother who has a master's from WVU, and has helped establish a great lifestyle for him. and you hear nothing but positives. And again, having these ambassadors around the different states, and North Carolina, probably half the population is from West Virginians somewhere in North and South Carolina, and
Yeah.
that's always cool to to run into people when you go to those places, and you always see Mountaineers. All you got to do is wear a hat or a shirt with a flying WV on it, and you'll meet some people from West Virginia, no question about it.
Boy, we're getting more of this. Great. WVU fan 13 has revealed himself. I own a termite and pest control business in Virginia Beach. Born and bred, Bridgeport, West Virginia. Great. Boy, is that, I was there not too long ago. Great area. You would be amazed by the number of flying WVs down here. I'm not surprised at all. That's good to know. That's really good to know. Very good.
I was in Bridgeport Thursday, Frank. Not for a good thing. I went up to get shots in my eyes.
Oh yeah.
So, that's why I go to Bridgeport to have that done. Virginia Beach. I have a sister-in-law lives in that area. She lives in Suffolk, Virginia, and a lot of WVU fans down there. They fly their flags proudly.
Oh, yeah. Can't remember the name of it, but a great Irish restaurant in Bridgeport. Always try to go there whenever we get there. Just great food and great atmosphere and so on. Greg, we're getting close to the appointed hour. And how about it? Went fast. We had great. We didn't know what to expect because we don't do 11 o'clock shows. Yeah. But we would have gone on last night at 2:30 in the morning, and you wouldn't have been able to join us anyway. So that wasn't going to work. But we should talk a bit about Wednesday's show. I'll put it up here. Have a great guest, Greg, coming up. Another one. Mark Parsons is delivering for us in terms of lining up. Chad Johnston. I know you saw him live back when he played in the 90s.
Oh yeah, sure did. He had a cannon for an arm. He's a big guy, man. He could throw a football. And West Virginia boy too. So it'll be fun to talk to Chad. And he's kind of one of the forgotten ones, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
He come in, after the Major Harris era, and prior to the other guys, the Bulgers and the Pat Whites. So he's kind of in there, kind of forgotten a little bit, I think. And he was a good quarterback. He a true Mountaineer for sure. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to put in, just to emphasize your point, how many yards he threw for in 3 years, really. He was there 4 years, but didn't play much his first year. 6,000 yards, 43 touchdowns for the most part over 3 years for Don Nealon's team toward the end of Don's time at WVU as head coach. But we're looking forward to having Chad with us, and we've just, coming on the hills of having Danny Kendra with us, who was a great quarterback from the 70s. It's just great to talk with these guys. They have great stories, great leadership ability, just wonderful, wonderful guys and wonderful guests.
Yep. That'll be a lot of fun. That'll be Wednesday night, as always, 7 o'clock on Wednesday. And I'm not sure, I may be coming to you from Tennessee. I'll have to let you know for sure where I'm going to be located Wednesday. We're heading down to Nashville for the rest of the week and the weekend, and hoping to hook up with Mark Parsons while we're down there in Murfreesboro, and looking forward to that. So I'll be joining you from down there. So that'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. All right, Frank, it's been fun. And we've got one more comment here before we go.
Yep, great show. Well, thank you, WVU Fan 13.
Absolutely.
The sky isn't falling. Yeah, a lot of positives. We have a quarterback. And the one name I didn't bring up, I really like this Weimer at wide receiver.
Yeah.
Is it Weimer or Weimer? I think it's Weimer at wide receiver. He looks like he's really in the game, has a good attitude, good hands, good size, and we need someone to take the pressure off Vaughn and actually be a downfield receiver in his own right, particularly over the middle. And so,
boy,
6'6".
Right, that's right. We got some positives, and that's all we can ask for. And, try to keep improving. So we got some bright spots. That's a good thing. And the sky has not fallen. He is correct, and we appreciate all the comments. That's awesome. We appreciate the new people jumping on. Stay with us and spread the word. We appreciate it. Frank, it's been great talking to you, sharing with you. Enjoyed it, and didn't enjoy the game time. Didn't get in bed till 3:00, so I'll be struggling today to make it through the games. But it was a lot of fun today, and again, encouraged. So it made it a little bit easier to come on. Not totally disappointed like we were the last couple of weeks. Made it just a little bit better.
I agree, absolutely. And now we can take a breath, do the pivot, and get ready for UCF in 2 weeks.
Yep, get ready for the second half. So we look forward to coming to you guys Wednesday night with Chad Johnson. Don't forget that. Again, we appreciate all the comments, and we appreciate everyone for tuning in either now or later. We look forward to seeing you again on Wednesday night. For Frank, I'm Greg. Have a great Saturday, everybody. Enjoy your football games, and we will see you Wednesday.